Hello, from wherever you're joining me, and today we're doing Daf 17 Omid B. Let's dive straight in. The Gemara explains that Shmuel could have said to you, perhaps this Tana also holds that anywhere that an animal is not fit itself for sacrifice, and the heaven sanctity does not rest upon it. Shmuel himself holds, in accordance with those who disagree with this opinion. And now we move on to a summary of the second paragraph, which we've just finished. The Gemara lists many differences between communal offerings and offerings of an individual. Unlike those of an individual, a communal offering does not render another non-sacred animal exchange for a substitute, and communal offerings that are sacrificed at a fixed time need not be replaced if for some reason they are not brought at the proper time. Conversely, offerings of an individual that are lost or that die generally must be replaced and brought later. The sages disagree with regard to other possible differences between communal offerings and the offerings of an individual. Some consider that communal offerings override Shabbat and which impurity, whereas offerings of an individual do not. But we may maintain that this is not a difference between communal offerings and offerings of an individual, nor between offerings that have a fixed time and those that do not. Many communal offerings have a fixed time, but there are also offerings of individuals that have fixed time, such as the Paschal offering, which must be sacrificed on Shabbat or in a state of rich impurity. Conversely, those communal offerings that do not have fixed time may not be brought on Shabbat or in a state of rich impurity. The Gemara also examined the concept of a sin offering that must be left to die under certain circumstances, including that this applies only to offerings of an individual, not to communal offerings. This discussion of the insanity of a substitute and that of an ordinary offering, is basically a continuation of the discussion of the first chapter. There is no substitution in the case of communal offering. One substitute cannot render another animal a substitute, and a feeder or limb of an animal may neither be used to render an animal a substitute, nor become a substitute itself. This chapter also discusses another unique aspect of the sanctity of a substitute. Whereas one cannot ordinarily consecrate a blemished animal for the altar, one can render it a substitute, although it may not be sacrificed. The chapter also discusses the general halacha of certain types of animals that cannot be consecrated as offerings or substitutes. These are the offspring of diverse species: a turefa, a tumtum, a hermaphrodite, an animal by cesarean section. These animals are not included in the category of animals that may be brought as an offering, and in this regard, they are considered similar to non-kosher species of animal. And now we move on to the third chapter, the third parak. So we're going to read through an introduction. And the verse says in Leviticus 27, 9-10, now if an animal of a type that was brought as an offering to the Lord, whatever part of it the person donates to the Lord shall become holy. He shall not exchange it or offer a substitute for it, whether it be a good one for a bad one or a bad one for a good one. But if he does substitute an animal for another animal, that one and its replacement shall be holy. And then Leviticus 27:33, he shall not inquire whether it is good or bad, neither shall he substitute for it. And if he substitutes it, then both it and that for which it is substituted shall be sacred. It shall not be redeemed. According to the Torah, non-sacred animals that is consecrated, and that a non-sacred animal that is consecrated as a substitute for an offering offering becomes sanctified. The other Torah does not specify the nature of the sanctity. Does it possess sanctity that inherits in its value, which is the status of consecrated items used for temple maintenance, or does it attain inherent sanctity, i.e., that of an offering? If it has an inherent sanctity, does the sanctity entail merely a prohibition against deriving benefit from it by performing labor with it or sharing it, or is it actually fit to be sacrificed as an offering? If it is fit to be sacrificed, and considered a complete substitute for the offering, in which case one may fulfill his obligation with either one, or is it considered only a guarantee in the case the original offering dies or is lost? Even if the substitute has the same status as the original, there is room to distinguish between voluntary offerings, where one may sacrifice many animals, and obligatory offerings, which are brought only for a specific reason and for which one may not sacrifice multiple offerings. Another issue that arises is whether the additional components of an offering, such as the meal offering, wine libation, or loaves that accompany a thanks offering, are brought together with the substitute. Likewise, one may ask whether or not the time limit for consumption of the original offering is imposed upon the substitute. The case of the substitute is more complicated in the case where the substitute animal is not fit for that particular offering, e.g., if one designates a female as a substitute for a burnt offering, or guilt offering, or a bull as a paschal offering or guilt offering. In such a case, the substitute cannot be sacrificed and placed on in addition to the original offering. The state of such an animal must be determined. Although the Torah discusses the status of a substitute animal, similar issues also arise with regard to this case of the offspring of an offering. If the offering must be a female, a peace offering or sin offering, or if one consecrated a female as an offering, for which only a male offering may be brought, such as a burnt offering or guilt offering, and then the female became pregnant, what is the nature of the sanctity of the offering? Is it fit to be sacrificed as an offering, or if it is, which offering does one sacrifice it? In these two cases of that of a substitute offering and that of an offspring of an offering are the primary subjects of this chapter, which addresses the state of both with regard to each category of offering. So now we move into the Mishnah. These are the sacrificial animals which the halacha states status of their offspring, and substitutes is like its own halachic status. The offspring of peace offerings. So what does that mean? So the footnote, if the offspring of a peace offering and the offspring of a substitute of a peace offering have been stated peace offering in every respect, this is true with regard to the offspring, but the offspring of the offspring may not be offered upon the altar, as this gives the appearance of one who is retaining the animal's possession in order to evade many plots. And therefore, he is penalized and prohibited from offering these animals. According to the Mishnah and the opinion of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi on 18a from B'Sefer Korbanot, Termura 4:1, and their substitute animals, and even the offspring of the offspring or the substitute animals, and even the offspring of the offspring until the end of all time. Ad sof kol ha'olam. What does that mean? In the Bible, the word olam, meaning world, refers primarily to the concept of unlimited time. Therefore, the expression ad sof kol ha'olam used here denotes eternity. They are all endowed with the sanctity and halachic state of peace offerings, and therefore they require placing hands on the head of the animal and libation and the waving of the breast and thigh in order to give them to the priest. The Gemara asks, since Tan already taught the offspring of the offspring or the substitute and the offspring of their offspring, why do I need him to stay until the end of all time? The Gemara answers, the Tana of our Mishnah heard that Rabbi Elazar said in the next Mishnah, that the offspring of a peace offering is not sacrificed as a peace offering. Rabbi Eliezer does not specify here the fate of the offspring of a peace offering, and the commentaries disagree about this point. Some say that it is sequestered and left to die, Rashi, while others maintain that it is left to graze until there is a blemish. At which stage is it redeemed? In the the later commentaries question that rule. Rabbi Eliezer prohibits the offspring from being offered upon the altar. That's the owner delays sacrificing the peace offerings, and he is obligated to bring so that he may raise herds from them. See 18a. If so, sending the animal to graze is not an appropriate solution to graze. Some explain that as he must wait until the animal has a blemish, there is no concern he might raise herds from it. Chamish explaining the Rambam. But rather it is sequestered and left to die. And the Tana of our Mishnah said to him, it is not necessary to state with regard to the offspring that I did not concede to you, as they maintain that it is a sacrifice upon the altar of the peace offering. But even with regard to all of the offsprings until the end of time, I did not concede to you, as they will may all sacrifice as peace offerings. With regard to the Mishnah's statement that the halacha states of the offspring of peace offerings and substitute are like that of the peace offering itself, the Gemara asks, from where are these matters derived? The Gemara answers, as the sage taught in the Brayta, that if his offering be a sacrifice of peace offerings, if he offer the herd, if female, he shall offer it without blemish before the Lord in Leviticus 3:1. Since there is already states, if he offer of a herd, the words if male, if female are necessary. Rather, the word male says to include the offspring of a peace offering as having the same halachic status as a peace offering. The Brayta objects, but could this not be derived through an inference? If a substitute of a peace offering which is lenient in that it is not grown from consecrated property, i.e., it is not the offspring of a sacrificial animal, is sacrificed as a peace offering. Then with regard to the offspring of a peace offering, which is more stringent, since it is grown from consecrated property, is it not logical that it can be sacrificed as a peace offering? The Bible responds that this authority or influence may be refuted. What is unique about the halakha state of a substitute? It is unique in that the halakha of substitution applies to all sacrificial animals that belong to an individual, and therefore the substitute of a peace offering applies a peace offering. Shall you say the same with regard to the offspring, which is more lenient in that it does not apply to all sacrificial animals, as some are male and do not give birth, and therefore there is a reason to say that it is not sacrificed as a peace offering, since Allah with regard to the sanctity of the offspring does not apply to all sacrificial animals. Therefore, the verse states the word male to include the offspring, and states the word female to include the substitute. And commentators object, saying that the word female is not superfluous. It serves to teach that even a female may be born as a peace offering, as one might have thought that this offering must be a male. How then can this word be used for the halacha of a substitute? In addition, the phrase "if male or female" is needed to teach that the animal brought as an offering must either be definitely a male or definitely a female, to the exclusion of an animal of questionable sex, i.e., one whose sexual organs are indeterminate, tumtum, or hermaphrodite. They explain that as the Torah already wrote, male or female with regard to sheep used as offerings, it is necessary to repeat the phrase here with regard to cattle. Therefore, this phrase can be utilized to derive the principle mentioned in the Bible. Teaches different places. Peace offering indicating that they both have the status of a peace offering. I have derived only that the substitute of an unblemished peace offering and the offspring of an unblemished peace offering have the status of a peace offering. From where do I derive that the offspring of blemished animals, the unblemished offspring of a blemished offering, and consider the offering of an unblemished offering in every respect, and may be offered on the altar in accordance with the Baita. I'm going to say for Kabbalah Hechaturim 4:9. And the substitute of blemished animals, which are themselves unblemished, have the status of peace offering. The verse states in a more expanded form, if male to include the offspring of blemished animals, and if female to include the substitute of blemished animals. The Gemara analyzes the Baita. Yourself was said to Abaye, but why should I not revert to interpretation and say that the words if male should serve to include the substitute of blemished animals, and the words if female serve to include the offspring of blemished animals? Abaye responds, it stands to reason that from the same place that the substitute of unblemished animals is included, i.e. from the word female, the substitute of blemished animals is also included, i.e. from the expanded form if female. Likewise, since the word male teaches that the offspring of an unblemished peace offering is included, the offspring of a blemished peace offering is included from the phrase if male. Our staff is said by in an explanation of his question, did I say to you the reverse interpretation of the phrases if male and if female? I actually said that the interpretation of the entire verse